Thanks everyone for joining this morning or this afternoon or this evening as our partner Matt Saus is from Tanzania. I'm Tad Bradley from the Kusini collection. I'm joined here by my colleagues Gretchen and Vanessa, both from Kusini. All three of us have been to Manta, in some occasions several times if we're really lucky. But today we're really excited to welcome Matt Saus, the owner and director of Manta on Pemba Island. Matt has been part of the Kusini family since we were just talking earlier, since 2016. He and his lovely wife, Karina, did a sales trip around the United States and met my 2-year-old daughter at that time. They're shocked to believe she's now 12. So can you believe 10 years, Matt? And we have been blessed to be a part of this Manta journey over the course of these last 10 years to see the property grow and evolve. And today we're really going to focus, as we do on these Coffee with Kusini events, about one specific topic, 30 minutes-ish. Matt has a long story, a great story to tell. But today that focus is going to be on the underwater room, but not just the underwater room, the brand new underwater room 2.0. So Matt, thanks for joining us all the way from Arusha. I know you're not at Manta today, but you're just not far on the mainland in Tanzania. And I wanted to introduce the story by taking a step back to the original underwater room built over a
Hmm.
decade ago. You're a Zimbabwean by birth, married to a Swede who used to live in Australia. So tell us,
Okay.
how the heck did you end up owning and operating a boutique beach resort on Pemba Island in Tanzania and building this original underwater room over a decade ago?
Okay. So Tad, you're gonna have to keep me short because I go on and on and on. But thanks everyone for coming to listen to our story and Kusini for hosting us so graciously as you always do. Um, the underwater room started in 2005 when I met a crazy artist in Sweden. My wife is Swedish, so we were there at the time, and he'd built one in a lake in Sweden. And we started talking and we became friends very quickly and decided to set up a company that would develop underwater rooms around the world. Bit of a crazy idea at the time, but then it kind of got really serious when we started traveling around the Indian Ocean and found this amazing island called Pemba. It was actually our last stop. To be honest, we kind of ran out of locations because we were looking for a very, very specific criteria for the actual location. As you can imagine, it needs to be perfect. So we found Pemba and we found this, what we call the blue hole. And instantly we fell in love with Pemba and yeah, and the people really. I think that's what really kind of tipped the scales for us. We felt that we could do a lot and we felt that we felt very welcome and we just felt that we could do something very special with the group of people that we met, and then a lot more that we've met subsequently over the last 20 years. So that's now a 20-year story. 2006, we first got there. And then it took ages to get the government to agree on what this actually was and all the environmental impact assessments and everything that we had to jump through. Something new like this, they kind of make up the rules. We kind of made up the rules as we went along together. But they were very accommodating, and Zanzibar would be really great about the whole thing from the beginning. But it did take ages. So from 2006 until 2012, believe it or not, took 6 years. And in the meantime, we obviously needed a base on Pemba Island to be able to service the room and have guests over, etc. So the Manta Resort was born from an old dive lodge called the Manta Reef Lodge in those days, and we resurrected that, rebuilt it, repositioned it, and then introduced the underwater room in 2012, and it's been a massive hit since then. Although we've learned a lot, and I think I'll get into that now about what the underwater room
Yeah.
is, what it's really become. Yeah.
So from 2012 to 2025, this room that you see on the screen lived in the hole, this anomaly in the reef, and we'll see some photos from above, or you may have seen it in the previous slide. I'm going to now share a video. It's about a 3-minute video. It's a trailer of a future documentary that talks about the new underwater room and the whole journey to get there. And I think it'll give you a good sense of number one, how challenging it is to build a room that's going to be floating in the ocean. And number two, how strong the family and the community is at Manta, that was responsible for getting this. Well, number one, taking the old room, and Matt will tell us what happened to that. And then number two, with getting the new room in place, and now finally having guests come to stay there.
If I
To
could say
storm.
something briefly, very briefly about the trailer and the film that we're making is actually using the underwater room. We're going to tell the story of what we believe the future of Pemba is going to look like.
Fantastic. Okay, hopefully you'll all be able to hear the sound. I just added that, so sit back, relax for 3 minutes, and learn a little bit more about this journey, and then we'll catch up with Matt again on the other side.
Sio na wasiwasi kusema nyumba hii ilizama. Hapana, hiyo haikuzama, ilizama kwa kuizamisha. Is it straight? Absolutely perfect.
Kuna hamu sana ya kuona hicho kinachokuja.
Najisikia faraja kwa sababu tunaondoa ile imezeeka afu tunaleta mpya.
Tuko tayari kukipokea kwa sababu ile ndio furaha yetu. Nitafurahia sana kwa sababu tutakuwa tumeboresha zaidi.
Long journey getting it there.
This is Manta calling. Captain Alpha 800. Captain Alpha 800. Oh, that was a nervous moment. So, this is the plan here. So the buoys are over here. This thing is going to move right through here without touching anything. It's going to come into the middle of the hole. Like that to start at exactly the right angle. That's why you need to be on that tug with them.
The rest is easy. As soon as it was inside and secured, everybody was relieved. We did it. Everybody really performed very well. Everybody played their part very well.
Morning, habari asubuhi. Congratulations, Bwana. The new underwater cabin is there now. This is a giant leap in Zanzibar's maritime, marine, blue tourism. I love the fiber work, the indoor decor. You know, and I was so amazed by that heavy work done on the toiletries. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It was a fantastic scene to watch. Really beautifully, beautiful. Asante sana bwana.
A great chapter. And now it's going to get very exciting.
What a good cliffhanger, Matt.
Yeah, good cliffhanger there. It's going to get exciting.
So we're going to play this video next, which is just a short tour of the underwater room. You saw some of it in the trailer there. But as we play this, Matt, if you could also just talk a little bit about what happened to the old underwater room. Where does it currently reside?
Yeah, so you saw in that previous trailer, the roof of the underwater room just going below the surface. we decided to change it and for the old room to become a coral reef in itself. There was so much coral already growing on the room that we thought we found the perfect spot for it, and then sank it to that exact spot. So it sits on a flat sandy bottom that you can dive to. And as it sank, it was quite an event. One of the windows has been taken out, and fish are already inhabiting the room. In fact, it only took a few days to be completely surrounded by fish again. So yeah, so that's the legacy of the first room isn't over. It is now becoming a coral reef on its own. And the new room has taken this exact position. So in that hole, we basically changed old for new. So that's how that happened. And yeah, sounds quite simple. That was pretty tricky. I can say that was
I
pretty
think the
tricky.
trailer gave a sense of how not simple the whole process really was.
Yeah. I mean,
So.
it took us 2.5 years of planning to get the new one in there. Yeah.
So, Matt, the underwater room has obviously received a lot of attention. The old one, the new one, a lot of press and marketing over the years. Certainly,
Yeah.
Manta has used it. Kusini uses it as a way to market Manta as a property and Pemba as a destination. But really, a lot of people don't know that at its core, the underwater room, despite being kind of a flashy marketing tool, is actually a tool for conservation at its core. Can you tell us a little bit more about that story around the marine conservation area and how you utilized the underwater room to create this MCA and in not just to protect the reef and the area in front of Manta, but also to partner with the communities and the fishing cooperatives? And what are the
Yeah.
rules with the MCA and how do the communities get involved
Yeah.
and benefit?
The original idea of the underwater room was just to immerse people in the ocean and for them to wake up looking out of the window into this amazing tropical environment. I mean, that was the original goal, but it's developed and morphed into something completely different, really. Between 2006 and 2012, we got really, really close with the community, started a foundation called the Kwanini Foundation, and realized that the ocean had issues, and there were lots of things that we needed to address. So it's become a part of the conservation efforts in such a way that it helps us to expose those. And it has obviously driven revenues into the Kwanini Foundation through Manta consistently and sustainably all this time. So Manta and all our guests have funded all this work. So originally, when it came in 2012, in those days, there weren't really any discussions about marine conservation areas. But we wanted to try something exactly where Tad has showed us now. The reef line in front of Manta drops off quite dramatically to about 25, 30 meters. And along that reef line is this amazing life. It's an ecosystem that is just incredible. And when we found it, it wasn't as healthy as we'd hoped it would be, but thought that if we could connect with the local community and the local fishers in protecting this area, and if we could agree with them on how to do it together, then we could kind of set a baseline and actually see if it would work. And look, marine conservation at the core of it is about just allowing the environment to be. Marine conservation is more about governance of legal fishing methods than really anything else. And within the first year, I mean, it was handshake deals in those days, 2012, 2013, when the underwater room opened, 900 meters, almost a kilometer of reef line. And together with the fishers and the fishers committees, of which there are many, we've protected this area. There hasn't been any fishing in this area. And now I can safely say that since 2012, so what does that make? That 14 years. It is by far the best place to snorkel I think probably one of the top snorkel spots in the world. And we've been told by guests who are like avid snorkelers that travel around the world finding snorkel spots that this is the best they've ever seen. So it's just absolutely amazing how fast the ocean recovers if you just give it a chance, and how much it actually spills over. So these core zones or no-take zones, we call them now replenishment zones, spill over masses of biodiversity that attracts the pelagics in. So the fishing has just got better. So we are also now working with fishing. I won't get into that because Tad's going to pull me up on that. I'd love to talk to you all about the fishing company that we've set up, but he's going to stop me right there. But all these activities and companies and everything all feed basically into the conservation work, but most of all into the community work, because really at the end of the day, nothing happens without the community. So that's really the core of who we are and what we do. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a perfect summary. Yeah, I think there's so much more to say there, but we'll leave that
So
for another time. And anybody that would like to talk to Matt more about this topic, he'd be happy to spend hours really diving deep, and certainly the website gives a good snapshot as well. But
favorite.
I think just to take it to the next step and to the next level now with the new underwater room, one of the unique aspects of the new underwater room is that Manta is not earning a single cent off of it, which from a business standpoint doesn't seem like a good business deal, but for conservation, for the reef, for the Pemba Channel, this is an incredible deal. And the unique twist that you've done with the new underwater room is that all the profits for any booking with the new underwater room are being channeled into marine conservation in the North Pemba Channel Conservation Area, which encompasses Manta and well beyond. And that's through your partnership with Blue Alliance. So tell us more about that, Matt, how Blue Alliance is involved, what they do, and the impact that by saving the underwater room you're having on conservation in this area.
So from 2012 until the end of that decade, so we're talking right now about 2020, we'd seen such an incredible resurgence of biodiversity that we thought, we've got the right model, we need a bigger area. So it just happened at the same time that we were, and I think hopefully part of the influence for it, but a new ministry of that's called the Ministry of Blue Economy and Fisheries was started in Zanzibar. So this new ministry focuses on blue economy. So I got hold of all our friends in the government and said to them, look, we need a bigger area. Can we do a corridor? And I was actually working with Jonathan Brock from Pemba Island. And the two of us sat for, about a year of thinking about how we can do this, how it'll make sense, what the frameworks would be, and how we could actually manage a bigger area. And the government came back positive. We found like-minded people in Blue Alliance who are professional MPA managers, Marine Protected Area managers that do this around the world. And because the area was going to grow from our little 900 meters or kilometer, it was going to grow to 27,000 hectares. So if you can see in the diagram on the left-hand side, Pemba Island, and you can see the west coast, all the way from where it says Fundo, a little bit south of Fundo, go down again a little bit further from there. From there, all the way up to the lighthouse, around the side, that's where Manta is at the top. So we've grown in size exponentially. And tourism has been a driver of all of that through Manta. And we're incredibly proud of this. I mean, this has incredible impact on the communities. And there's lots more. I mean, like the fishing company I was telling you all about, I'll get into that at another time. I desperately want to go there, as you can all tell, but I won't go there. But there's so many activities happening around this area, and people are, the communities are realizing that this is something that they need to protect for future generations, and that's really what it's about. So, again, I'd love questions about it, and I'd like another opportunity at some point to talk about all of that. That's really at the core of everything we are.
I think for those of you that haven't been to Pemba yet, but have been to Unguja or Zanzibar, the main island that has had tourism and unfortunately I think has grown more in the terms of scale of the mass tourism. If you go to Pemba, you take a step back in time, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years. And what has been really exciting about what you all have done, Matt, at Manta in creating this marine conservation area that's now, as you say, the legislative requirement for any future tourism developments in this Pemba Channel corridor here
Yeah.
is that Pemba will not turn into a new Zanzibar because of the example that Manta has has shown over the past 15 years. So kudos to you. And I think it's exciting now that your guests, those of you that have guests that have been to Manta or are going to Manta in the future, by staying in the underwater room, they're just impacting that conservation of this really incredible ecosystem, this marine ecosystem, even more. We didn't talk about the impact contribution as well, but every guest that stays at Manta does pay an impact contribution that goes to the Kwanini Foundation, which goes into all kinds of marine conservation as well as community projects as well. But then again, staying in the underwater room then takes that to the next level in terms of conservation impact.
Mm.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the underwater room and kind of the logistics of it. But I did want you to first just tell us a little bit more about what's different, what's better, what's been improved upon in this new room 2.0 from the original. So I'll cycle through some photos here as you talk, but
Ted, the original underwater room had a ladder down into the bedroom, and it had two windows on each wall. Each wall was 3 meters long, so the square meterage was 9. It was a 3 by 3 room, so nine square meters. And we decided, no, we can do it a bit bigger. The engineering, I mean, the room weighs nearly 90,000 kilograms. The engineering was exponentially more difficult, but doable. And so we took it on and we got it done. And we've some amazing partners in the acrylic windows that we've put in there. Those are actually 12 centimeters thick and they weigh 800 kilograms each window. So when you walk up to that window, I found a really good way of describing the feeling. When you walk close up to that window, the closer you get to the ocean, you almost want to take a breath. You almost want to just hold your breath, actually. It's so much more immersive than the old one. The old one absolutely got you a window to this world, but this one is at another level completely. So it's something that you can't really experience. I've been trying for so many years to explain and describe the experience, but it's something that you kind of have to experience yourself. I mean, there's no way really to describe it, to be honest. It's the same as the underwater room, the old one. It's got the 3 levels with the bedroom downstairs, but as you can see, the staircase now going to the next level, and kind of the same layout with a lounge that you enjoy breakfast and dinner at and lounging around in. It's got the bathroom at this level, but again, bigger and better. And then you've got the staircase going all the way up to the top deck, which is our sky deck, stargazing deck. At night, it's amazing. You got the Milky Way right above you. And then, yeah, I mean, it's one of those experiences. It's just one of those experiences. I don't know what else to say, really. It's hard to explain it.
But you have, in terms of your creature comforts, you've got toilets, flush toilets, running water shower, pretty much everything you have in a normal hotel room on land.
Yeah, air conditioning downstairs, very comfortable. Yeah. So the usual and the operations of it are the same as well. You got just after lunch, and then spend 20 hours until the next day you come back just before lunch. So snorkeling around the room and all the activities that you can that you can
Well, let's
muster.
talk about those logistics here on this slide, Matt.
Okay.
As you say, there's
Yeah,
a
this,
land-based room held for you. So on the very rare occasion that someone decides they don't want to stay in the room, they do have their room on land, so they can come back to shore. It's only 250 meters from the shore, so you're not in the middle of the Pemba Channel. You could practically throw a rock back to the beach. As you just mentioned, you check in just after lunch, 2 p.m. ish. You'll have sundowners and dinner brought out to the room that evening. Then the following morning have breakfast, and you don't have to check out until 11. So it is 20 hours. If you take advantage, or your guests take advantage of the full amount of time they have, they can be there for nearly a full day. Those are the rack rates, that's not in addition to your room on land. That is the rate for the night, which includes your room on land. And again, that supplement is going to Blue Alliance. One of the things you all recommend is to book the underwater room. If you're staying at Manta, which again, at the first bullet point there, it's a 3-night minimum at Manta, not at the underwater room. You don't have to stay 3 nights at the underwater room. Most people stay one. But it's a 3-night minimum at Manta, 5 nights over the festive season. And Matt, you all recommend to book the underwater room in the middle of your stay. Can you talk a little bit more about that and why the logistics around that?
yeah, look, it's when we first decided to put the underwater room there, everyone really said, "You crazy. It's just way too remote. No one knows about Pemba Island, and it's so hard to get to." And we thought, you know what, that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for something really special that's not easy to get to. So getting all the way over to Manta is that extra hop, skip, and jump. And so a minimum of 3 nights, absolutely. In fact, our average stay is 5.6 nights. So that minimum 3 nights is kind of a given. And then we choose the night in that stay where we keep your room. So you leave your luggage, you leave everything over. It's kind of an overnight stay. So you'll grab your little bag of necessaries for the night and leave everything in your room. And off on the adventure you go.
And speaking of getting there, I think you segued well in that it takes a little bit more effort to get to Manta, to get to Pemba. But for those that are looking to really unplug, to get away from this increasingly chaotic world that we live in, that want to come to a place very pristine, that has this incredible connection to community, this family feel. Places like that you do have to work for. So to get to Pemba, coming from the mainland, you can leave the Serengeti in the morning and get to Manta by the mid to late afternoon, flying via Zanzibar. There's plenty of connections. I don't know how many flights a day there are now from Zanzibar to Pemba, but a good number, Matt. 5 or
Yeah,
6.
lots, lots,
Yeah.
lots. Yeah, morning and afternoon.
Oric and Coastal are both flying that route. But you land here at Chaki Chaki Airport, which is right in the center of the island, picked up by Manta's team in a Toyota 4Runner, very comfortable air-conditioned vehicle. And this drive to the northern tip of the island is on a beautiful, well-maintained tarmac road the entire way until you get to this dark green area, which is the Ngezi Forest, which is the last or one of the last indigenous rainforests left on the island. The
The
island's
last.
the last, yeah, okay. Protected area. This is the Clove Island, so it's been used for plantations of various spices over many, many decades, and actually centuries, actually, I think. So yeah, then you bump a little bit through the Ngezi forest, but it's a beautiful forest. It's almost like this is the last step of your time travel back in time. You really have to slow down through the forest, and then you arrive here at Manta. It takes about an hour and a half door to door from the airport to Manta, and it's beautiful. This is not over touristed Zanzibar. This is stepping back into Zanzibar 40 years ago, driving through small villages, farmers'
Yeah,
fields, plantations, beautiful colors. And it's a lovely way to, again, kind of leave the crazy world we all live in behind and step back in time and get yourself mentally ready to slow down to get to Manta. So again, it takes a little bit of extra effort, but boy, it's worth it when you get there. And as Matt said, the average stay over 5 nights. You even for fam trips, we really request that people are staying at least 3 nights because you really aren't going to want to leave. For those of you that have guests that don't want to deal with the flights at all, or from that extra flight from Zanzibar, Tropic Helicopters is now offering helicopter flights directly from Zanzibar Airport to Manta, or even from Dar on the mainland all the way to Manta.
Yeah, we've got a little helipad. We've got a little helipad now.
So that's for those short on time, but flush with cash. This is a great way to get to Manta quickly.
And to see the whole island as you fly
True,
over.
right.
It's an amazing flight,
How,
actually.
how long is that flight from Zanzibar and from Dar, Matt, to Manta?
With the normal caravan, it is 20 minutes from Dar to Zanzibar, and then 30 minutes from Zanzibar to Pemba, and a little bit more with the helicopter. It's another 10 minutes, about 40 minutes from Zanzibar, 45 minutes from Zanzibar. But then they do a bit of a scenic route, could be an hour even, do a little bit of a scenic route through. So you could, yeah, that's an experience in itself.
All right, we're going to wrap up here because we're almost at 30 minutes. So I want to invite anyone that has questions to just pop them into the chat and we can field those and ask Matt. As those questions come in, I do want to just give a very short overview of some of the options on the mainland, because again, your guests aren't going to come and stay at the underwater room for 5 nights, more than likely. I think very rarely would that ever happen. And there's some really great developments on land with new villas that have been built over the last couple of years. And the big highlight is that there's two of these 2-bedroom ocean view villas, which, as you can see, provide a ton of space for a family or a couple of couples, private pool. I won't even say a plunge pool because it's like nearly a proper pool size there, Matt. Private beach banda right down the beach. I'm going to just play this short video, which really gives you a good tour of those ocean view villas whoops. Or not. The video isn't going to work for me, but we'll send you out a link so you can see those ocean view villas. And a rack rate of 4,200 for up to 6 guests during peak season is, quite an exceptional value for those on a luxury safari in Tanzania. Another option now for families, both of these great for families, is the Seafront Family Villa, slightly smaller than the Ocean View Villa, but still plenty of space, 2 en-suite bedrooms. This one does have a proper plunge pool and then a beach path down to the beach just below you. These Seafront Family Villa borders the other Seafront villas, which are the 1-bedrooms, which is the other category of rooms that those of you in the luxury space would be looking at. And there you can see a great photo of those seafront villas just overlooking the beach. The underwater room is off to the left of this photo. And those run from $760 per person during low season up to $950 per person during high season. All right, any questions? I think we've got a few here in the chat. We will send out a link to the 3-minute video, the trailer, absolutely. Yeah, Marjana, you were there in 2018, so things have really changed. Time to come back and check it out today. Matt, anything else you wanted to share before we let everyone go for the rest of their day? And you head off to bed.
Well, the film should be out September, October, so that's something to look forward to, the release. And then, yeah, I mean, I'd love to share more about our conservation work and the fishing efforts around what we're trying to do. And we're actually trying to merge the two. We're trying to merge fishing and tourism and connect them so that it's also an experience for our guests and for your guests. So they really get to understand the ocean in a different way. It's not just about diving and snorkeling. It's actually about how the community are going to use this ocean in the future and how they're going to protect it. So that's really what it's about.
Very exciting. And for those of you that know Karen Jones she's got a podcast called Safari Changemakers. She put the link into the chat. That's a longer interview with you, Matt, and Gary from Blue Alliance. So for those of you that want to dive in a little bit deeper into the whole conservation story here, that's a great interview to check out, and we can send a link out to that as well. So thank you, Karen, for doing that interview. Matt, thanks for staying up late. Appreciate being
Our
as succinct
pleasure.
as you were. I know it's hard not to go on more about all the incredible work you're all doing over there, but we appreciate the short version today, and I can't wait to get back to see Manta and the new underwater room sometime soon. Have
Thanks,
a great
Tad. You all have a
evening.
great day. You have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everyone.